jumping point. If you're in Tokyo, their closest attack point from there was Wake Island. Midway is the first step to the Hawaiian Islands. So if you take Midway, then the Hawaiian Islands, you have a jumping point, like a supply base, that basically there's an airfield there. So everything's resupplied here instead of your resupply being down here. Much different, especially since Midway was kind of this American stronghold. So if they take that, that's the last air base left before the Hawaiian Islands, at which point you take the Hawaiian Islands and then you're free on the United States. So that's the reason Midway was so important. It was such a key point in all of this, was that it had an airfield, and it was that midpoint, and obviously Midway is midway between the two continents. So it was a good jumping point to attack here and to attack here.
So it's true that basically it's really easy to just take over. Once you take over an island, it's really easy to colonize it as a supply point. Is that what you're saying? It's communication.
It's extremely easy. That's basically what the Americans did later on. They came in and they started, they had Midway. They decided they were going to do two separate movements. One was a southern attack where they went into the Solomons, right here, Guadalcanal, that area. They came in and they were going to come up this direction, take it through the Philippines. And the other one was a movement straight here through the Wake Island, Marshalls. I think they went for Saipan. I'm trying to think of, where are the others? Iwo Jima.
Where'd you get your Iwo Jima?
Like Iwo Jima, and then Okinawa, which is right here. They came straight through there. Those are the famous ones, Okinawa and Iwo Jima. Those are the two marine, were badasses places. So, and then they had another prong that went here, but they would just come in and they would pick which island. So if they came in, they would say, okay, Guadalcanal, it has an airfield. We're going to take Guadalcanal. That next island right next to it, well, the Japanese have some troops there, but they don't have an airfield, they don't have a supply base, they got nothing. We're going to leave them there. There were several bases of Japanese bases that were down in this area they never even dealt with. They never stopped there, they never went there, they just left them there because basically they had them isolated. So once they took all the airfields and supply bases, they were able to say, okay, see you guys.
And those are the people that have all those Japanese restaurants in America now.
Exactly. That's them. So yeah, so like they completely, like they would take Iwo Jima because it had an airfield. It had 3 airfields. They took Iwo Jima, but they skipped these. And they would go for Okinawa because they had an airfield. So that was the key, was taking bases that could be used for jumping points, because the key with Iwo Jima was that it was a jumping point to Japan. Same thing with Okinawa. Okinawa was actually part of the Japanese islands. So from here, the invasion of Japan was a lot more feasible instead of from down here, even though Okinawa didn't have any kind of attack, like they didn't have any way to be offensive from Okinawa. Like the Americans could have driven their ships right by and just attacked. But instead they wanted Okinawa to be the jumping point to here, to the Japanese islands. So Iwo Jima was actually more of a, they had one of these areas down in here, they had another base where they were sending bombers to Japan from this area, and Iwo Jima was a midway point in case the bomber was damaged or anything. They could land at Iwo Jima, saving the pilots and saving the equipment and everything else. So it's kind of a midpoint, a little closer place to attack Tokyo, not as quite as dangerous as these long flights back and forth. So
seems crazy to me that these are like thousands of people coordinating. It's not as simple as like, and it's in civilized society at war. So like you're like literally sending troops to where? Like towns? And then just killing all the soldiers? I mean, it's really hard for me to comprehend how quickly they're able to advance and what they leave behind when they like say they left Midway. What did they leave there?
Well, when they left, Midway became like a supply point. And so basically, like, you got to think of this as like a shifting, like a strategic way to think about this is a shifting supply base. So your supply lines from here to Midway to start, all right? So you got Midway and then Hawaii. Well, then your next supply line goes from the United States to Hawaii to Guadalcanal, which is right here, Solomon Islands. And so then you basically just move everything one station over. So basically you bring all your supply, your main, everything that was in Hawaii goes here, everything was here, it just kind of moves over. So your points of control, your points of command, your logistic logistics, everything kind of shifts. So like your airfield, which Midway. Well, then we went to Wake Island. That's the next one. The Marshall Islands, this area right here. You're taking over that. That's your next point. That's where all your planes, not all of them, but your staging area moves to here, from here. So then your staging area moves to Saipan or whatever. I don't think we actually took Saipan. But anyways, your staging area continues to move as you move.
Yeah, I get that, but it's crazy. Just
logistically, it's insane. They've got hundreds of thousands of troops. You got, like I said, they're running
1940, where
and all you got is the telegraph, man. You don't got cell phones. You got the telegraph. So they're literally sending troops. They're attacking here, up here through the Philippines, and straight across the middle. And it's just, there's a guy sitting in Hawaii or Midway. Well, Hawaii was the main base, but a guy sitting there pretty much pulling all the strings, deciding where this goes. And you've got multiple fleets. They had two different fleets that were going through at the same time too. But yeah, I mean, you got to think Iwo Jima. It's the size of like the city of Charlotte. Like it's this tiny little island. It's itty bitty, and I forget the exact numbers, but I want to say 36,000 United States troops were killed or wounded there. It's the size of Charlotte, It's incredible to think about these kinds of things. Okinawa, that's an island that's no bigger than it's not even bigger than I'm trying to think of something like the New York City, like that strip of island in New York City. That's what Okinawa is, and it's another place. We had probably 80,000 or 70,000 troops landing on Okinawa trying to take over Okinawa. That's not even counting the amount of Japanese troops. Japan lost 99.6% of their troops that were on Iwo Jima during the Battle of Iwo Jima. Not captured, not wounded, dead.
How logistically do you even capture people in this?
Well, they didn't. They didn't capture. Okay, so Japan was different. Germany, it was very civilized. They could capture them. They could sit there and they could come in and they'd surrender. Oh, yeah. Japanese, they would come running at you with a grenade in their hand and blow themselves up to kill themselves. That's how they felt like it was honorable to die. So they would blow themselves up. They would have their women would come up to men or hold their hands up and get behind the lines and then blow up. Like they were completely fucked up. They didn't ever surrender. However, they also did stupid things. They did bonsai charges. Which is where they would sit there and they'd scream bonsai. I mean, literally, this is what it would go. They would scream bonsai, and they'd come charging out of a cave with their bayonets into a bunch of machine gun fire. Like they would just kind of charge out. So you that's how stupid they were at the same time. But they would not surrender. They'd fight to the death. If they got captured, it was dishonorable. Like if they got shot in the head but survived, it was dishonorable for them to be alive. Like that's how they looked at it.
But those are the exact same people that are being born today.
Yeah.
Genetically.
Yep. Yeah. There's a reason Japan's pretty fucked up. Like they're not normal. Anyways, so yeah, like the Iwo Jima, fun thing about Iwo Jima, that I've done a lot of research. That's where the you ever see the famous picture of they're all lifting the flag and it's like halfway up.
The one that was staged?
Well, it wasn't staged. It was actually, they were replacing the flag that was already there. The general that was down, or the admiral that was at the ships, he decided
Nelson?
Nimitz. No, Bull.
Nimitz?
Nimitz, I think was his name. Anyways, he decided when they put the first one up, he said, oh, it was a really small flag. It was just one the guy had in his pouch or something. And so he said, we need a bigger one. So they sent a bigger one onto the side of on the landing beach and then sent it up the mountain. And then these guys went over there and put a bigger American flag up. And it just so happened that was the point where that guy took that famous picture. They just wanted a bigger flag. It wasn't staged.
Hell yeah.
But anyways, the Iwo Jima was, when they were taking pictures, they bombed it forever. Like, they bombed the hell out of that place. And they were taking pictures of it, and they couldn't find any pillboxes. They couldn't find any defenses or anything like that. It turned out it was all underground. They had dug tunnel systems. Yeah, like there are still tunnel systems down there all across Iwo Jima, honeycomb in Iwo Jima. people were found in like caves 6-7 years later. Japanese soldiers, after the Battle of Iwo Jima, they were just down there in the caves, didn't know what was going on. But that's really
7 years later.
Yeah, they have water supplies. They just hung out. The last one came out like several years after the Battle of Iwo Jima. Anyways,
those are the guys that invented sushi.
Yeah, so they're like up underneath the place, and they actually did it different. A lot of these places, other beaches, they had stayed right on the edge of the beach, and they attacked them as they came onto the beach, and their main defense was right at the edge of the beach. Well, instead, what they did is they allowed the Americans to get onto the beach and then work their way onto the beach and get all their supply stuff and get really crowded on the beach, and then they opened fire. So instead of hitting that first wave that came in, they kept it really light, didn't attack much, and then once they got a bunch of troops onto the beach and started to try and move forward, that's when they started hitting them hard. And like the problem was, the Americans would take out a pillbox, like a flamethrower or something. They'd take out that pillbox, pass the pillbox, go up to the next one, and then they had a tunnel system, so they would pop back up in that same pillbox, so they'd pop up behind it and fuck them up from behind. Anyways, we just went to 1945. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That was way better than. We can skip this video.
Yeah,
No,
I really,
keep watching. No,
I don't think I care about that.
History to 1944, where the
Oh,
Americans
yeah.
and the